Shalom Yashrala. This is your brother Dawud from GMS Tampa Bay 07, coming at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you. I can't push in this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth. I'm going to jump into this here lesson here dealing with, things that's going on. Some of the controversy going on right now, dealing with these strangers getting our land is basically just a misunderstanding of certain words, Well, actually, these people are trying to sow discord, the people that's bringing this here out. But we're going to squash this once and for all, Just like anything else in the scriptures, when you talk about the Gentiles and certain things like that, you have to, if you know the foundations of certain things, let's say talk about salvation. When it's clear as day that, salvation is only for Israel, okay? Then you see other things where he's talking about go out and preach into the Gentiles that they may be saved, right? So, if you're not, I don't even know how to put this, if you don't have that understanding, you would think, okay, the Gentiles is talking about, non-Israelites, all right? But, if you first of all, if the Most High is dealing with you, and you have the spirit to be able to understand these things, you would understand that the Israelites were scattered amongst all the other nations. They would lose their heritage. If they lost their heritage, they're no longer, all right, so we're going to put it in the carnal sense. They still by DNA Israelites, all right? Their customs just changed a little bit. That's more or less what they're saying. You've become Americanized. It's just like you want to go get you a woman from out of the country. Right. Let's say you want to go get you some woman from, let's say China, a Chinese woman, right? Because of how these Chinese women, just for an example, how Chinese women treat their men, and then you bring them over to America after a couple of years, they become Americanized. It don't change that she's Chinese. She's still Chinese. Her customs is starting to change up. She's starting to act a little different, Same way when you speak about in certain scenarios, Gentiles or strangers. Now, this, what we get into is dealing with this here land, You can't give your land, once you was given this land as an inheritance, you can't give the land to nobody else, all right? The land is it's an inheritance. It's supposed to be passed down to your children, That's what it's speaking about. And so, we're going to go ahead and, show this through the scriptures. Now, there was some times where, Israelite could sell his land, but that was in more or less dire situations of, he was going broke or something like that. And in case he would still basically sell it to like one of his brethren. And then, after a set amount of time, basically somebody will redeem that land back, more or less like, how would you say more or less like in today's times alone, oh, I'll help you out in a situation, but let me hold this for, collateral more or less to say. But nevertheless, jumping into the scripture, this is Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 7. It says, remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee. When the Most High divided the nations, their inheritance, okay? When he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the children of Israel. All right? So, the Most High first and foremost set the boundaries of the people, all right? He the one who set up all the boundaries, gave everybody a portion in their lands, all right? This is in the book of Numbers, chapter 26. Starting at verse 52. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, unto these lands, unto these the land shall be divided. The land shall be divided for an inheritance according to the number of names. Okay, and who is he talking to? Who is he talking to? He's talking to the Israelites here at this point in time, all right? It says, unto these the land shall be divided for an inheritance according to the number of names. Now, one thing you got to understand about inheritance, right? This is just basic understandings of a word. If you inherit something, that means somebody passed it down into you. All right. And if that's the way of doing something, like if I was to put you in if you my son and I put you in my will for something, that's already being allotted unto you. That ain't even up for sale for nobody to give to nobody else because it's already pretty much in transition to give to somebody else, your child, the person who's going to inherit it. Okay. It says, Unto these, the land shall be divided for an inheritance according to the number of the names. To many thou shalt give the more inheritance, to few thou shalt give less inheritance. To every one shall his inheritance be given unto those that were numbered of him. Okay. Notwithstanding, the land shall be divided by lot. So like I got a sickness going on. Notwithstanding, the land shall be divided by lot, according to the names of the tribes of their fathers, they shall inherit. Okay. According to the lot shall the possession thereof be divided between many and few. So basically talking about the Israelites, the different tribes. He's just going through, letting them know that, hey, listen, you about to inherit this here land, and this is how it's going to go down. You're going to get this, each tribe is going to inherit this amount of land, and it's going to pass down through your fathers. All right. This here's Leviticus. I'll just read. Yeah, this is here it is. Leviticus 25 and 23. The land shall not be sold forever. Okay. For the land is mine, for ye are strangers and sojourners with me. Okay. So you're not supposed to sell this land, for one, because it's not your land to begin with. The Most High gave you that land. All right. So it's, you know what I mean? And he told you what to do with the land. Give it to your sons. All right. Like we read in Deuteronomy 32, it says, when the Most High divided the lands in an inheritance, all right, and set the bounds according to the children of Israel, all right. So the Most High is basically saying, look, you basically you can't sell this land. It's not even yours to give up. But again, like I said, like here's a scenario down here, whereas I'll read it. It says, the land shall not be sold forever, for the land is mine, for you are strangers and sojourners with me. Okay. Now, when he say you are strangers and sojourners with me, again, there it is again. It was like, nah, it's not saying that we somebody strange to the Most High. He just saying, listen, I'm the one, first of all, this is my land, first and foremost. I'm the one who gave you the land. You dwelling on my land. Okay. It, like the whole land, when you talk about that land of Israel, that's the land that the Most High gave into our forefathers. Not no land that we scoped out and we took on our own without the Most High and decided to give him a portion of it. He the one who gave it unto us. Okay. There's just like shit, we'll bring it into a carnal sense. You a father and you got your child, your son, right? And you saying, listen, I'm going to give you this here car. You're going to inherit this car and this here land, this house and the property, blah, 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 but you can't sell it because you didn't deal with the strangers that sojourning with him. It's like, you didn't pay for this land. You didn't buy this car. You didn't work for none of this stuff. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give it to you. And then this is what you're going to do with it. You're going to hold on to it and you're going to keep passing down into your sons. This is going to be the richness of it. You ain't got no say so whether or not you're going to sell it or not. It's not into, it's not written into that stuff. Like in modern days today, you have people, these Edomite kids, they get trust funds, right? It's basically an inheritance from their parents, right? But a lot of the times they write into the trust fund a stipulation. Okay, this person has to be 25, 35 before they can inherit the money. Or they have to be 35 and they have to have a job, or they have to have X, Y, and Z. Even though the money is already given unto them, they can't take possession of it unless they meet these certain requirements, because it ain't their money to give to themselves. All right. Somebody else is giving it unto them. You're going to only get what you're going to receive, and under the conditions which you're going to receive it as. All right. So, that's dealing with more or less how he's talking about, oh, this is the Most High speaking to them, talking about something, you are strangers and you sojourn with me. Like saying, like, you my son. Okay, you didn't pick out this plot of land. You didn't pay for it. You didn't work for it. I'm the one going to give it to you. And if I tell you you can't take this car I'm finna give you and put some big ass rims on it, you can't do that to it. You're going to leave it exactly how it is I gave it to you. And you ain't going to ever change it. That's just it. Okay, so it says, and in all the land of your possession, you shall grant a redemption for the land. If thy brother be waxen poor and have sold away some of his possession, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall he redeem it that which his brother sold. Okay. And if the man have none to redeem it, and himself be able to redeem it, then let him count the years of the sale thereof and restore the overplus unto the man whom he sold it, that he may return it to his possession. All right. So, and then you go further down to where basically he'll get his land back. So again, it's not even really, he's selling it for hard times, you know, more or less, how do you say, collateral for a loan. He wound up getting it back. Can't really sell your possession like that, you know. Now this is just, you know, just dealing with just, you know, Israelites amongst Israelites. Not even to mention you're not going to give this land to nobody else, you know. And we're going to touch on that here in a second. This is Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 14. It says, "Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark." Okay, now first of all, who's your neighbor? The Israelites, because we were talking about how they get in their possession, and they break it down into different lands or different areas of the land, you know. So it says, "Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that Yahweh thy power hath given thee to possess thee." Okay, so it says, look, don't be removing these old borders, basically the old landmarks. If I tell you, look, you got all of this over beyond, you know, this area and over here, that's you. You know, you can't remove that and then make this guy's land smaller, this guy's land bigger, you know. And again, this is talking about other Israelites. You can't be trying to short another Israelite, you know, pieces of the land. Basically, you can't even take his inheritance from him, you know. And so how much more can you know, if you can't remove your neighbor's landmark, his border, make his property smaller to give to somebody else, or if you can't do that to take some of his own property for your own self, what makes you think you can give your brother's property away to a heathen, you know? Especially when it's not your land to begin with. This land was given unto you from the Most High. This is Deuteronomy. This is Deuteronomy 27 and 17. Cursed be he that removeth his neighbor's landmark, and all the people shall say amen. Okay, so moreover, it tell you, hey, look, don't remove your neighbor's landmark, but it also says, cursed be he that removeth his neighbor's landmark. So again, you know, speaking of, you know, let's say if you want to be spiteful or whatever, trying to come up to where you possess all the land, you did some kind of trickery or whatever to steal all your brother's landmark. First of all, that ain't right in the Most High's eyes, you know, let alone you trying to give, let's say, some Moabites the land. You know, you got some Moabite slaves or whatever. You're not going to be giving them no goddamn land like that, man. You know? Because shit, in the end, like I said, we'll get to that. Because I was going to say, in the end, we wouldn't have no land. Everybody be done gave the damn land out, you know? You give the land to some Moabite. Now the Moabite come up, he got kids, he got to give it to his kid, and so on and so forth. And what's going to stop the Moabite to go marrying a Palestinian or an Ammonite and giving them the land? Now we shit out of luck with the land, even though that's the prime real estate of the whole fucking planet Earth, you know? You see them Amalekites over there want the land right now, you know? You see that's what's going on in the Middle East between them and the Palestinians. All right, next precept we're going to grab is in the book of Proverbs. It says, Proverbs 22 and 28. It says, remove not the ancient landmarks which our fathers have set. Okay, so again, we keep reading the same thing over and over and over again. Don't remove the landmarks. Don't remove the landmarks. They don't give you no scenarios of why you could or would remove. Now, like I said, there is one where you could more or less, if your brother going broke or something like that, he could sell it unto you, more or less trying to get a loan from you. But then again, you got to there's a point in time where he can redeem his land back. So it's not really like he's selling it unto you. You know, it's like when you go to the pawn shop and you pawn something off, you know, like, look, man, I'm a little short on my bills right now. I need you to hold this here, let's say a watch or something. Then you go back on a set date and you go and you redeem your watch. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that you went and you sold it. You know, sometimes if you go and you sell something, you know what I'm saying, and you want it back, well, it's up to the other person to sell it back unto you. But when you more or less, like today's times, you go to a pawn shop, you know what I'm saying, you go pawn something in, you know what I'm saying, you go back and you get a ticket, and you go back and you get your deal back, you know? All right, so now, again, that was dealing with, you know, that was dealing with, you know, Israelites. You can't necessarily be selling or moving your brother's borders, you know? Now, this is dealing with the rest of the heathen and stuff. So, you know, if that was like that for the Israelites, how much more for these goddamn heathen? All right. And how the Most High feel about that. It says, Psalm 79:1, it says, a psalm of Asaph. O Yahweh, the heathen, okay, the heathen, not the Israelites, but the heathen are coming to thine inheritance. Thy holy temple have they defiled. They have laid Jerusalem on heaps. Okay. So it says, the heathen is coming to thine inheritance. Okay. And then also they basically said that they came and defiled the land. They came over to the land. So if this is something that's not being spoken of in a good way, you know, Asaph ain't like, oh, look, Most High, we happy that these motherfuckers came up in the land and defiled it. You know, that's a good thing. All praise to the Most High for that. No, he's speaking in the term like, damn, it's kind of fucked up. You know, you got to do something about this. You know, these goddamn heathen came up in our land. They didn't defile our land, you know. This is the Most High speaking about this now. All right, this is Ezekiel 35. I'll start at the top real fast. It says, Ezekiel 35:2, it says, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus saith Yahweh power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. Okay. It says, I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt know, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh. Okay, now talk about the perpetual hatred that Esau had for us. All right, let's jump down to verse 9. It says, I will make thee perpetual desolation, and thy city shall not return, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. Okay, so why is the Most High finna fuck Esau up over here? You know, this whole chapter he cussing out Esau. The whole chapter talking about how he gonna destroy Esau, right? And so he also named out some of the reasons why. Okay, verse 10 says, because thou hast said these two nations. Okay, the two nations that he's talking about is the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom of Israel, the actual people. Okay, and these two countries. Okay, that's actually talking about some land. All right, over in Jerusalem, and then basically over here in America, you know, because the natives was the first to be, the so-called natives, the northern kingdom was the first ones to be over here, and Esau came over here and took this shit, man. It says, and we will possess it, whereas Yahweh was there. Okay, reading that again in Ezekiel 35:10, it says, because thou hast said these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas Yahweh was there. All right, so you know the Most High is upset about, you know, the heathen running up in our land. So if the Most High is upset that the heathen ran up in our land, how much more would he feel if we gave out our land unto the heathen? Let me backtrack that. If the Most High is pissed at the heathen and took the land, and then he'll be pissed if we didn't sold the land, or if we removed the landmarks or short our brother on his property, or expand our property somewhere else, moving the landmarks. All right, he'll be pissed about that, and he pissed about the heathen coming up in there. How do you think he'll feel if we decide to give the heathen some of our land? Like, yo, here you go, you can have some of this. You know what I'm saying? No, hell no. This is Ezekiel 36 and start at verse 1. It says, also, thou son of man, prophesy against the mountain of Israel, and say, O ye, hold on. Yeah. And say, O ye mountain of Israel, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh power, because the enemy has said against you. Aha. So the enemy, first of all, this is somebody that's not what, they not our friends, they ain't our peoples, none of that, no shit like that. They your enemies. Okay. And what are some things that you and enemies have in common? Y'all either hate each other, y'all trying to kill each other, things like that. This is what an enemy is. So this is not no good guy. It says, thus saith Yahweh power, because the enemy has said against you. Aha. Even the ancient high places is in our possession. Okay. So they said even the high places, the ancient places, they didn't possess, they possess in our land. Okay. The enemy is saying this, not our friends. No shit like that. Basically, you can say these are strangers because they're not from us. All right. And not talking about strangers that are Israelites that moved out and became strangers. You know, they live on a different area. Well, in that point in time, in a different landmass, you know, nowadays we call them Gentiles because none of us is really on the land, you know, but that's like what we on the highways and the byways doing. We're trying to wake up the Gentiles, our people who are in Americanized states who call themselves Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Trying to tell them that's not who you are. You actually the children of Israel. We're not out there trying to wake up Edomites and Moabites to tell them that they Israelites now. However, now if you do have some Israelites that look like Edomites, okay, prime example, Mariah Carey, Cameron Diaz, Christina Aguilera, people like that, you know, they Israelites. They not Edomites. Okay. It goes back onto who your father is. All right. So I mean, yeah, they would have how do you say uh uh how do you say they would have more or less rights to this. They would be more or less Israelites, you know. But nevertheless, continuing on, it says, therefore, verse 3, therefore prophesy and say, thus saith Yahweh power, because thou hast because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that you might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen, and ye are taken up in the lips of talkers, and you are an infamy to the people. Therefore, O ye mountains of Israel, hear the words of Yahweh power. Thus saith Yahweh power to the mountains and to the hills, to the rivers, to the valleys, to the desolate wastes, and to the cities that are forsaken, which became a prey and derision to the residue of the heathen that are round about. Okay. I want to read down to verse 6. Yeah, I'm going to read the verse 6. Thus saith, I'll just read verse 5. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh power. I might skip. Oh, no. All right. Verse 5. Ezekiel 36 and 5. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh power. Surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen. Okay. So the heathen, the actual strangers, the actual aliens. Well, not even to say aliens, because aliens would be alienated from the Commonwealth. Meaning, like how we saying Gentiles. You forgot who you was, more or less, to say. Okay. But it says, therefore, thus saith Yahweh power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea. Okay, now this is actually talking about right here, right now, today. All right, because that's who's over in our land right now. It says, against all Idumea, which have appointed my land to their possession with the joy of their hearts, and despiteful minds cast it out for prey. So these goddamn heathen, these Amalekites, these Edomites, so Amalekites are pretty much a tribe under the Edomites, okay? And Idumea, which these goddamn heathen, let me look at this real quick. I'm gonna close out after this. My phone's about to die, but this is kind of fucked up how they did this. I just caught that. All right, because see here, this is Hebrew that they speaking. All right. Yeah. So it's crazy that it says in all Idumea, which is a Greek word for Edom. Okay. I wonder how do they use this word? Yeah, see, they don't even have this word in here. Yeah, so see, they try to cover this up. They just should have used the word Edom at this point in time. They weren't even speaking Greek at this point in time. So it's kind of weird that they would have a Greek word, Idumea, there. But nevertheless, it's still talking about Edom. But nevertheless, just to cap off this here lesson, you can see how the Most High is telling us, look, don't remove the ancient landmarks. When you out there in your own land, don't be trying to increase your own land, which is decreasing your brother's land. Don't take your brother's land and so on and so forth, Second of all, it's a bad thing that these heathen come up into our land. These heathen ain't supposed to be in our land. Like, well, the Most High cast us out of the land, for one, as a punishment. But it's still a bad thing that these heathen over there in that land, all right? They're not supposed to be over in our land. So if the Most High, who put them in that land under our curses of us going out, they still finna get their judgment for being over there, okay? The Most High is talking about that, Let me go back and end off right here, because it's at the end it says, boom. It says verse, I can start back at 10. Is going back Ezekiel 35 and 10. It says, because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine. We will possess it, whereas Yahweh was there. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will do even according to thine anger and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. And thou shalt know that I am Yahweh. And I have heard all your blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they are laid desolate and given to us to consume. So, this is some bullshit. Like, this is blasphemy. Like, yo, man, they laid desolate and they given to us to consume. So they had cast out the land. We can have the land, or you know, now this is on a whole different topic from where this came from, because these goddamn heathens, not heathens, they Israelites, but they just bug outs, you know, talking about, oh, the land can be given to any and everybody, you know. They trying to weasel in some way for these other nations to catch some salvation, but that ain't gonna happen like that. All right, they ain't getting none of the promises, none of the inheritance of Israel. Only the Israelites gonna get that. All right. It says, thus with your mouth have you boasted against me, and you have multiplied your words against me, and I've heard them. Thus saith Yahweh power, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate. And thou, as thou did rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel. And what do you mean you rejoice at the inheritance? You rejoice because you're in that goddamn land right now. All right. And it's because you in that land right now, you ain't supposed to be there. All right. It says, as thou did rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. And thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it. And they shall know that I am Yahweh. So, you know, they basically removed us up out of that land in 70 AD. And then they moved back into that land, 1948. Most High say, look, I'm about to make you desolate, you know. Hey, it ain't no coming back from that, all right? The judgment's already been set. All right, Lord willing, here lesson was edifying. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh. Hashem, Yahweh Shah, double honor to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught me this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions. Stay strong. Shalom.